I need to know, are there certain black people that just don't like us because we're white?
No, I'm not going to answer that part about whether black people don't like us just because we're white. But later down in the comment section, when someone asks you for like an interaction that you've had with black people, and you say that you're just so nice and you get blatant rudeness back, like elaborate. Like, you're being so nice, and what they said back to you wasn't how you wanted them to say it. It didn't make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. It was straight to the point and assertive. I don't know the situation, but a lot of white people think black people are being rude when they are just getting to the point. Maybe they don't want a small talk. Maybe they don't want to shoot the shit with you. It's not rude. If white people had the same interaction with you, would you say they were being rude, or would you just, Is it because it's a black person that is saying it that makes it rude? So, and really, I don't think black people are looking for us like that, so.
So Sarah Jessica has decided that a good way to get views and followers to her page would be to disingenuously ask the black community if there are black people who do not like white people because they're white. Answering the question with a simple yes is too simple, although accurate, because I feel like nothing said after that initial yes answer is going to be heard or acknowledged. I feel like it will only be a matter of seconds before we hear "that's racist to white people," accompanied by the historically tried and true white woman tears. The tears of narcissism, the tears of self-centering and self-victimization. This question wasn't asked with the intention of truly understanding why it is that there are certain black people that just simply don't like white people because they're white. You see, if I were to answer the question believing that it had been asked in good faith, I would explain that throughout all of history, the people who have racialized themselves to be considered white tend to exhibit, historically speaking, and historically documented, damaging and dangerous behaviors that stem from the social belief that that racial category that their ancestors created for them holds some sort of value, or even in some cases means that they are superior or inherently good. That belief that anything not white is bad, or taboo, or demonic, or witchcraft, or evil. That belief, the belief in which our entire society was built upon, and indoctrinates us into believing since the day we open our eyes, that is what powers many of the thoughts, practices, opinions, and actions of white people. You know, finding a white person who is capable of self-reflection is rare for most black people, especially those in America. And finding white people who don't subscribe to whiteness is even more rare. And whiteness is anti-black. So, now because trauma is passed down through DNA, and the majority of black trauma can be traced to white people or whiteness as the source. As an act of self-preservation, some black people simply do not like white people because they are white. And no, that's not prejudice, because prejudice is not based on reason or actual experience. It is a trauma response at the hands and even turned backs, colorblind eyes of white people to the lived experiences and the consequences of the thoughts, actions, and beliefs that whiteness instills in white people that cause some black people to not like white people because they're white. But again, I know this question was not asked in good faith. It was asked so that it could have a bunch of people that are black say yes, there are people that don't like white people because they're white. So that white people could in turn say, see, white people experience racism. So she could get views and she can get new followers.
Okay, so this video hit my For You page, and Just watch.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I already know it, but you know what? I need to know. Are there certain black people that just don't like us because we're white?
So she was complaining about black people being mean to her, so I wanted to see what she was actually talking about. So I dug through her page and found this.
When I lived in New York, I lived in predominantly black neighborhoods, and when I would be walking down the street, I would get called, names, or get out of our neighborhood, or, like stupid white C, bitch, like all these things, simply for just being white and no other reason. So if people are saying they could read my vibes from walking down the street, that's a little insane.
Did you hear it? Because I heard it. She was a white woman living in a predominantly black area in New York, right? Meaning, most likely, she is a gentrifier. Everyone knows about gentrification at this point, so I feel like I don't really need to summarize it, but what happens often is you will have a predominantly black or POC space that will, at some point in time, be the darling zone for young, usually white artists who are poor and can't afford to live in these nicer, predominantly white areas that have historically been segregated. So they move to these historically black segregated areas. And when they're there, they make the place hip. And then the people from those white suburban areas start to hear about that interesting, cool, edgy place in the city, and they want to live there. So what do? They eventually move there. And when they get there, the rent is significantly cheaper than the place that they moved from. Now, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, because one of the things that I had to comprehend when I moved to Los Angeles is that I, in my own way, was gentrifying. I moved to LA from Orange County, where I lived for 6 years with an ex. And when I moved to my first apartment, which was in Crenshaw, which is a predominantly black area, the rent that I paid for me at the time was affordable. How much was my affordable rent? $2,695. Now, mind you, I lived in a 1,400 square foot apartment. It was, for me, in LA numbers, a good deal. Is it a good deal for the people living in the area? No, it's not. In fact, it's astronomically higher than what they're generally paying. So what happens is landlords, who are leeches, tend to get the idea that they can now raise the rent, right? Because there's people from outside of this area who are willing to come to this area, who are eager to come to this area to be part of the interesting art thing that happened years ago, which, by the way, usually the artists end up getting pushed out as well. And they are going to be willing to pay that much to live in the area. And so effectively, people are displaced from the areas that they were segregated into, that have been their homes for all of their life, right? That's probably why people, when they see you as a white woman on the street, are not too happy to see you. And I'm not going to say that people yelling stuff at you is okay, because I don't think it is. I think it's terrible and it shouldn't happen, right? But historically, when white people move to these areas, it often means the people are about to be displaced. I now live in East Hollywood in a predominantly Mexican community, and everyone in my neighborhood has been very, very friendly and very warm to me. And one time I was talking to the local homeless guy who lives on the street, and he told me that he would rather have me in the neighborhood, and I'm one of the few black people in this particular neighborhood, than a white person, because oftentimes when white people move to the area, it just gets even more gentrified. And since I've been here, oh my gosh, so many businesses have closed down. I've seen so many Spanish-speaking businesses close down and reopen as, some sort of, hip thing that is frankly pandering to people who can afford to spend $12 on coffee and $20 on cocktails, right? So yeah, you were a gentrifier, and that's why people weren't particularly happy to see you. But let's talk about something else too. Now, I'm gonna be honest, and I know that some people are not gonna hear this the right way, but more recently, I've developed a sort of anxiety around befriending white women, because a lot of white women have this way of essentially punishing you if you're not operating in service to them. I've made a few videos about this in the past, but something I experience quite a bit is when I go out looking good and feeling good about myself, there will often be a point in the evening where a white woman will come and try to humble me. And I don't think it's very conscious, but there's something about a lot of white women, and I think the way that they've personally digested white supremacy, where white women always need to be catered to, they always need to be praised and celebrated and the best in the room. And some white women have a really hard time being in situations where that's not the case. And quite often, drawing boundaries for yourself or saying that you don't want to entertain a certain conversation or that you would rather go on with your day is interpreted by these white women as you being rude. Like when I was living in Orange County and I had colorful braids, so many white women would just come up and start touching me without even asking. Right? I would never think of putting my fingers through a white woman's hair, but living in Orange County, something that I had to accept is that white women, because I was Black and different, are always going to have this assumption of familiarity that doesn't feel good to me. And that's just one example. I'm sure there's people who can give you plenty of other examples. And for me personally, I've had to learn that I can walk away from those conversations and I could stop giving a fuck about whether or not someone thinks that I'm being rude for that, because at the end of the day, it's not actually rude, right? This person, and they haven't usually processed it, is just so entitled, feels so entitled to my attention, my energy, because I'm a Black woman, that they feel some type of way when they don't get it. And that has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with white supremacy. I think it would be productive for more white people to ask themselves when they're considering some Black person to be rude, if they would feel the same exact way about a white person doing it. Someone yelling at you on the street, okay. But the few negative interactions that you're having with a Black person, maybe think about the fact that you are probably factoring these interactions into your head differently because this person is a Black person. And I'm going to be honest, one of the other reasons I'm having anxiety around befriending new white women is because we have to have conversations like this. There's no intellectual curiosity from a lot of white women's side. They're not actually invested in knowing about the community they just moved into and why certain people wouldn't be happy to see them. They're not particularly interested in how their questions make me feel, how touching my hair makes me feel. It's all about them. And it's kind of suffocating.
I can boldly tell you guys that this lady literally asked this question because she wants to trigger the Black community. She wants to get a certain response from the Black community. If not, who in her right senses will just wake up and be like, oh, Black people, is there anything that make you hate us as white, blah, blah, blah. Like, who in the right senses does that? Who in the right senses wake up one morning and think that the other race hates them? First of all, I'm happy for the kind of response she's giving, but I'm going to be giving my own long commentary and my own 2 cents to her, and I'm giving her reasons why we have to distance ourselves, why we have to say if there is that word HATE, and it is like that. Okay, I'm going to be giving it at the end of this video because I already like when people are already replying to her. The fact is that even yourself, your folks as white folks, a lot of you guys do not even like each other. A lot of you guys are jealous of each other. So welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, before I share my 2 cents, let's go watch the remaining clips I have for you guys. I'll be back with commentaries because I have a lot to say. Let's go, guys.
Most white women are not our friends. Like if you're a Black woman, most white women are not our friends, okay? When they do connect with us, it's often from a place of hierarchy, guilt, or pedestalization, rarely ever in solidarity, right? When they do connect with us, it's just to reinforce power, right? It's not from a space of partnership, and it's been this way since the plantation, right? Since slavery days, it's been this way. I want you to watch this video.
For the second time in 3 weeks, a Black man who I am a colleague to has sent me a joke about how soft and nurturing and coddling white women are and how mean and harsh Black women are in relationships. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a white woman, don't participate in that. it's not funny. They're testing to see what you're going to do, what you're going to say. It is absolutely disgusting that they even think that it's okay to send me that. And it's offensive to me that they believe I'm going to laugh at the expense of Black women. There's nothing funny about it. There are plenty of things that we can joke about, plenty of people that we can poke fun of. The last people who need to be the center of a joke are Black women. And additionally, this is a pattern I've seen over years of Black men married to Black women who form a friendship with white women, myself, and then start finding a way to put Black women down to get into the good graces of me. And that tells me everything I need to know about you as a man, you as a husband, you as
Watch this video and then let's talk about it.
The only systematic racism that has been legally allowed in America in recent years is against white people. Things like DEI, things like job quotas, things like black-only business loans, right? This has all been working against the white people who created this country, and I'm sick and tired of pretending that it's not.
I'm Dr. Michael H. Ford, and let's talk about what you just saw. She said the only systematic racism legally allowed in America today is against white people. DEI, job quotas, black-only business loans. White people created this country. 5 claims. Let's go one by one. Claim 1. The only systematic racism legally allowed today is against white people. The Federal Reserve's own data shows the median white family holds $284,000 in wealth compared to $44,100 for the median black family. That is a gap of more than 6 times. A 2024 Zillow survey of 12,000 adults found that 69% of black Americans reported experiencing housing discrimination in their lifetime. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in the third quarter of 2025, black workers earned $970 per week compared to $1,238 for white workers. If systematic racism against black people ended, somebody forgot to tell the data. Claim 2. DEI discriminates against white people. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is defined by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission as the practice of creating fair and inclusive workplaces that ensure equal opportunities for all employees. DEI does not exclude white people. It addresses documented barriers that prevent equal access. That is not discrimination, that is correction. And here's the part that nobody talks about. You ready? The group that has benefited most from DEI in corporate America is white women. According to McKinsey's 2025 Women in the Workplace report, the largest study of its kind, white women hold 23% of C-suite positions, while women of color hold just 7%. The policy she's calling racist has done more for people who look like her than for anyone else. Claim 3. Job quotas. Race-based hiring quotas are not DEI, they are illegal. The Society for Human Resource Management states explicitly that setting specific hiring or promotion quotas based on race is a direct violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. DEI and quotas are not the same thing. Calling them the same thing is not an argument, it is a lie. Claim 4. Black-only business loans. The SBA's own 2023 data shows that despite black Americans making up 13% of the population, black business owners received only 4.6% of SBA loan funding, while white business owners received 42.3%. There are no black-only federal business loans. The data shows the exact opposite problem. Claim 5. White people created this country. The White House was built by enslaved black people. The United States Capitol was built by enslaved black people. This is confirmed by the White House Historical Association and the National Archives, which holds the actual wage rolls documenting their labor. The cotton economy that funded America's Industrial Revolution was built on 246 years of unpaid black labor. You cannot erase the builders from the building. 5 claims, 5 failures, not one supported by law, data, or history. The most dangerous misinformation is not the kind that sounds extreme, no. It is the kind that sounds confident. Now you have the facts. Use them. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.
The idea that white people are somehow God's chosen people makes me laugh every single time. And there's 3 reasons for this. Number 1, race is a social construct. The fact that people argue whether Italians or Portuguese people or Spaniards are white or not white in America shows that it's literally a social construct. Is a slight tan, does that mean you're white? Like, it's all made up. It's completely not rooted in biology in any way. Number 2, most of like the Abrahamic religions, they don't dictate random white people from America as God's chosen people. It's Jewish people or Muslim people or someone descended from a leader like the Buddha. When people say this, it's just so manifest destiny core, but in 2025, and it's really embarrassing. And number 3, the idea that race mixing somehow dilutes the blood is actually ridiculous. This isn't true at all. Blood bleeds red regardless of whose blood it is. And this line of thinking is just straight up white supremacist, of the fact that the 1-drop rule, any amount of blood that's not white makes you black or a person of color. So anyways, you guys are embarrassing. Get off my page.
Your post last night, but I wanted to be very thoughtful in my reply and think about what I wanted to say, so I didn't want to give the typical answers most people who have been giving, like, I don't see skin color or nothing, because that is true, but it's a lot more complicated than that. I even wrote out all of my points so that I wouldn't forget anything and that I could be as concise as possible, but this may still be a little long. First, some ground rules. This is my opinion. I am here to explain how I see this, but not to excuse anyone's behavior. And yes, white people are not a monolith, but I also think that way too many do not reflect on these issues, and I will mention why. And white people, if you're watching this, this is for Mark and other black people. So before you start popping off in the comments, maybe you need to sit down and reflect on what I'm about to say, because I don't think we reflect enough on these kind of things. So here we go. So white fragility is real. I'm not going to explain what white fragility is. Black people probably know. If you don't know and you're white, go look it up. Google is your friend. But I think every single person, white person, experiences white fragility. Those who experience it a little experience it as guilt, and those who experience it a lot display it as anger. Anger is a secondary emotion to other emotions, mainly to hurt and fear. As I mentioned in my video 2 years ago, which you can go look, is pinned at the top of my page, which was a discussion about why white women hate black women. It's really because we fear them, but more accurately, we are intimidated by them. I believe that these feelings of intimidation actually carry over to white men, and maybe even more intensely, because white men are born into a supremacist patriarchal society that was set up for them and puts them at the top of the society without even having to do anything but be born. They just have to be born, and they're automatically the best, accordingly. In general, that concept applies to all white people, because our identity starts, and for some of us ends, with the color of our skin. Most of us, a lot of us, many of us feel like we don't have the need to prove ourselves because we've been sold the story that being white simply just makes us better. We are unmotivated to educate ourselves, to develop community, to work for our rights. I mean, see what's going on right now in the country. All these white people are giving lip service to, oh, it's so bad, what are we going to do? But nobody's out here organizing. Nobody's doing a damn thing. We all know that black women are the ultimate organizers. White people don't know how to organize. They don't have community. They just know how to complain. And, we just think everything is going to be okay for us, and we're going to come out on top because we're white, because of the color of our skin. So then when we see black people who are educated and have culture and have community, besides appropriating that, we realize that we really do have no identity outside of our whiteness, no uniqueness. We have no ties to any heritage. White is a social construct. It's not even really a race. So we hate you because we can't admit that your existence intimidates us, because that requires vulnerability and self-reflection and emotional maturity, which most people in general don't have, and certainly white people, they don't possess that. And probably even more so white men, because you have to add in there a hefty dose of toxic masculinity. So if we admit that we are intimidated by you, then to us, in our mind, consciously or unconsciously, that would make us weak, or maybe more appropriately, inferior. And that is with odds at what we have been taught. There's a cognitive dissonance there, right? Our whole lives. This also applies to other non-white races, the way we view them. So that's why we hate you and negate your accomplishments with things like DEI trope and suppressing education like critical race theory or factual black history. It's because we have been raised to see ourselves a certain way our whole lives. And again, your existence threatens that, adds to cognitive dissonance, makes us feel intimidated, and therefore we express that white fragility and that intimidation in anger, because that feels better to some of us. Or guilt, like I said, for some of us who maybe don't, rise to the level of anger. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk to kick off Black History Month. By the way, your style is impeccable, chef's kiss, but also proves my point about how much more black people have culture and style and all the things than white people. Have a great day.
Did you know that white women were 40% of the slave owners in the US? So when black women say they would choose a bear over a white woman, this is one of the many reasons why. And keep in mind, women couldn't own a bank account until the 70s. Women couldn't own their own business until after I was alive. Without having a whole lot of rights, women were still 40% of the slave owners. And if you need more examples, during my time at corporate America, all of my biggest haters and dissenters were all white women, okay? Not the white men, white women, because we were taught that there's only so many positions for women at the top, and we had to fight each other for them. Rather than there being competition between like everyone at the company, women felt like they had to fight between themselves to get those spots. The majority of my biggest bullies in life have been older white women. Okay, and a lot of times those have been in work environments where I have been actively pushed down by other women. So the next time you get your panties in a bunch when a black woman says that she trusts a white man over a white woman, just try to remember some of these examples.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope you guys literally enjoyed every single clip I was able to roll out for you guys. Always love to share your opinion with me in the comment section. I love it because that's another way for us to interact and then understand each and every one of us perspective. So we have this madam coming up to ask and spark reaction of, I need to know, is there some black people that literally do not like us because we are white? First of all, I don't know what actually gave her that right, that audacity, that temerity, and that effrontery to be able to think that first. And secondly, I feel like one of the main reasons why she literally did this was because she wanted to magnet black audience to be able to react so that her video can literally go viral. But most of the response that she is literally getting, she was literally not expecting it. She thought it was going to be greener on the other side until she understand that every side is literally not greener, because a lot of people were giving her back to back. There are people that even responded to her that I was not even able to see their video because the insult was much, the response was that very, very harsh. And you guys know the YouTube policy here. Everything you're doing, you have to be very, very careful. But anyways, my own opinion and my own 2 cents that I want to contribute. For you to already ask that particular question, it simply means you already have hatred for black people. It simply means you have this beef going on between you and black people. So I don't want to justify that her second video where she literally said, oh, she lived in predominantly black spaces where she was told to go back to where to go back to her white place, blah blah blah, east, west, north, and south. Why I literally will not touch on that one is because every single thing that come out of these people's mouths, if they said good morning, you have to check your time and be sure that it is good morning. I'm talking about some white folks. I'm not generalizing every single one of them, because coming from her page, if you really study what this lady is literally putting out there, you will know that at every single point she wants actually get black people's attention to talk, and the moment black people start talking, it start becoming a thing of racist. Nobody is jealous of you because you are white, ma, so that you can get that clearly. But people are trying to mind, black people are trying, let me not put people in general, black people are trying to mind their business because for years and for decades, for centuries, you people have literally been lying, reclassifying, stealing things, making things that is not your own, your property. Is it the genocide? Is it the lynching? Is it the slavery? Is it the segregation? Is it redlining? Is it Jim Crow? Like, name what white folks have literally not done for we to be able to be scared of you. And when I mean scared, we are not scared of white people because white people are more superior or more powerful or they have all of that. We just want to give you people space. We just don't want those your competitive life, because a lot of you love competitive life. If you are in a space with a white person and that person, that black person is doing better than you as a white person, you get to start having issues. I have to distance myself from you because I don't want a situation whereby I will walk on the road, or you see me in the store, or you see me anywhere, and then you go directly put your hands on my head and be like, "Oh, I love you." I don't like that. So I have to distance myself from you. I don't want to attach myself to people that you literally need to preach to, you literally need to talk to over and over again for them to be able to wash yourself properly. I don't want that. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on anybody's toes. Like I said, I'm not generalizing every single white person, but the moment you bring questions like this, you're automatically trying to trigger us because you want to hear something from us. And the moment you start hearing that thing, you start saying, oh, black people are racist too. Black people are prejudiced. This is no matter of being prejudiced, or this is no matter of being racist. There are different reasons why black people will choose to distance themselves from you as a white person. The obsession coming from you people to the black community is that much. It's too much. That is why we can literally walk and we see you people asking us, do you belong in this environment? What are you doing here? How did you manage to afford that car? How did you manage to get rich? People keep asking stupid questions that at the end of the day, you look at yourself and you don't ask yourself questions like, how did I literally get here? So black people have a lot of reasons, like a lot, apart from the ones that they have even mentioned in this video, and the ones that I've literally said, we have a lot of reasons why we shouldn't even get close to you people as white folks, why we should mind our business, why we should mind our lane, why we should not even have any relationship with you guys at all. Is it the ones that a lot of black people invented and then you change it and make it look like you people owns it, you reclassify things, change names of things? See, it's just a whole lot, to the point that even Jesus, you guys have to go to that point of changing black Jesus to white Jesus, to the point that you people made doctrine look like it's another thing entirely. You wrote it to your taste, pass it on to generations, to the point that Africans suffer and they are still suffering for what you have literally done, and you expect we black people to just be okay with it, still adore you people, still clap for you people, and still work. I'm not saying there are not black people that are not in good terms with white people. There are. Okay? Yes, there are black people that are in good terms with black people. But for you to be able to ask this question, for me, you're asking this question out of a racist mind. I don't know. Anyone watching, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.